Good morning, everyone, and welcome to week 9. Hopefully, you all are doing okay as we kind of close out the month of March. I know March is a really, really long month as far as classes goes. It's kind of like October. March and October, it's just relentless, especially midterms, and there doesn't seem to be like any break. But next week is spring break, so you're super close. Plus, it's week 9. Now you're kind of on the downhill slope to the end of the semester. So let's take a look and see what's in store for us this week. I'm actually going to walk you through the module because there are some things that I want to make sure that you see this week. If you didn't have a chance to read the email or the announcement or the page in the module, your rough draft due date has been changed to the Monday after break. So we'll talk a little bit about that. The other date that changed was the final for essay number 2, and that was due Wednesday the 13th and is now due Friday the 15th. So we'll talk about that also, but just to kind of keep that in your big picture, if you will. Again, here is all of your due dates for the week. But let's go ahead and dive into what's in the module here. So I've had some questions about the revision and revising. And again, just to reiterate, that revision is optional unless you received an incomplete. If you received an incomplete on essay number 1, then you must revise if you are trying to pass this class. So when you submit an essay, right, I look at it and it is either complete or incomplete. If it's a complete essay, that means that you met the requirements in terms of the word count, not the word count, but the source requirements. It has the basic essay structure that's in the assignment. You've met all the requirements, great. Once it's complete, then I'll read it and evaluate it. High pass, passing, not yet passing, right? But if your essay is incomplete, that means that it has not met one or more of those requirements. So then I send it back to you to say, okay, it's not complete yet. And in your feedback, I tell you why it's not complete. So you need to revise it to make it complete. So that way then I can evaluate it as high pass, pass, not yet pass. Okay? So it's really important that you do that. If you don't revise an incomplete essay, then you're not meeting the requirements of the course in the UC-CSU system, which means you will not have an opportunity to pass this class. So you have to revise it just to make it complete. It may not be passing, but it'll be complete. Okay, so I just need to make sure that you understand that difference. So if you haven't already signed up for a conference this week and you did receive an incomplete, I'm emailing everyone today to just say, just so you know, this is the week of conferences, and then you'll have an extra week with spring break to work on the revision if you want to. As far as the revision goes, if you want to submit the revision before break so that you don't have to worry about it, that's great. Just keep in mind that you have to meet with me first. In order to revise, meeting with me is a requirement. So this page really just kind of walks you through what the process is in terms of revising, why you might want to revise. If you received a high pass, you don't need to revise. But if you received a pass and you want to try for a high pass, great. If you received a not yet passing and you want to try for a pass or a high pass, great. If you received a not yet passing and you're thinking, look, I'm just trying to get a C in this class, great. It doesn't matter to me, right? You can revise if you want to. That is totally up to you. But here are the steps that you need to take in order to revise, and then what your actual revision needs to look like and how it needs to arrive. Again, it needs to be to me on or before Monday the 4th, which is the day that we get back. So again, I'm not necessarily going to be on my computer too much next week. I will be working through some other stuff, but I won't be doing any conferences next week, so you need to conference with me this week. You can conference with me twice this week if you want to. It's a whole lot of Prof. Miller, but you can meet with me about essay number 1 for the revision. You could also meet with me for essay number 2 if you want, or you can wait until after you get the rough draft feedback to have that conference with me for essay number 2. So totally up to you. And again, those are the revised dates. As far as the conferences go, just as a reminder, this week I opened up a second evening block of time. So I have conferences Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, Thursday evening, and then Friday afternoon. So all kinds of conferences available to you this week. If you want to meet and none of those times work for you, please send me an email. We'll figure something out. Okay. The next page here is just basically the assignment. And then there are 2 pages here back to back that you need to read before you even get started on your rough draft. And that is the question at issue and the claim. And those go hand in hand, right? Essay number 2 is a traditional argument, which means you're writing a claim. And a claim is another word for thesis, but a claim is what we talk about when we're using a traditional argument. For this essay, you are going to be describing, or you're going to be using a specific type of claim. And that is going to come from a question that you have. So it's really important for you to read this page, the question at issue, and then the claim page. Because part of what you're going to be doing this week is constructing different claims and then choosing one you think you want to use for your essay. So this first page is the question at issue. It even talks about, well, what is a question at issue? The second page here is the claim page. There are 4 or 5 types of claims that we're going to be exploring in this class. And this page kind of explains that. And then in the next discussion here, I put a video that kind of explains those claims, the types, and examples. So again, here's the little video. I hate those little stills of myself there. But I kind of walk you through the different claims and what questions or claims might look like based on that type. I know that if you're listening to this and you haven't read those pages yet, you're probably like, what are you talking about? But it will make sense once you read the pages and you learn about the claim types, because you will be determining what type of claim and therefore what type of argument you are going to be writing for essay number 2. I've also given you some examples using a totally different topic, just so that you could see like what in the world I'm talking about when I'm looking at, or when I'm talking about these claim types. Okay, but if you have questions, again, post them in the discussion board. I'm going to be responding to the discussions this week just to try to make sure that your claims and your questions are kind of on track. So if you really didn't understand something, go back and watch the video and make sure you read those pages. Next up is the reminder. And I should note too that this, the first part of this work here about claim types, it isn't due until Thursday. I try to put all of the essay work at the first part of the module and then all the reading in the second part of the module. So you have some time this week to work on the claims. There are a few writing skills instructions this week, integrating evidence. These are the They Say, I Say templates. Many of you may have used the book They Say, I Say in your English 100 class. Some of you maybe even used it in high school. Either way, these are the templates here for free. So saved you $15 here, but this is a way to integrate your evidence beyond this author says blah, 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 right? And these are all meant to be copied and pasted and used in your essay. So don't feel like, oh, am I going to be plagiarizing if I do this? No, they're templates. They're meant to be used in that way. So this is just a handy tool to have. You can download it, save it. In any class where you're integrating evidence, this is just something that could be useful, not just in our class, but in any class where you're having to rely on outside sources. There's a little bit of information here about the counter argument. I'm not going to worry too much about the counter argument quite yet. That will probably come more as we work through the rough draft, but this will just kind of give you an overview of the counter argument, where it could go, what the point of it is. A lot of us know kind of intuitively a counter argument and how that can strengthen your argument. Most of us use counter arguments all the time when we're making personal arguments with people. But in writing, it's kind of forced and it doesn't necessarily need to. So this is just a quick rundown of that. Your rough draft, I put another rough draft page here just to kind of inform you about what to expect. You know, I did that with the first essay also. this is more of a, what am I looking for? What do I don't want to see? Does it need to be complete? No. Does it need to be formatted? No. Do you need to have your outside source yet? No. There are a lot of no's that you don't need. Again, I give a lot of feedback on the rough draft, so I'm looking for at least 2 pages of writing, and then you can kind of outline the rest if you don't have it written yet and you're not sure what you want to say, but I just to kind of get a sense of where you want to go. I am looking for some kind of claim, including the type of claim. But again, that claim can be in its shitty first draft form. I just want to kind of see where you're headed in the essay. So again, rough draft is due the Monday we get back. Yeah, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Your actual reading for this week kind of closes out our study of social media and free speech, and it's not a reading, it's a video. It's sponsored by the LMC library, so you may need to be in a place where you can log into the library in order to access this video. The video itself is very long, so I've given you kind of if you don't have a lot of time, here's how you should watch it. Or if you have time, then you should watch it in full. Especially if social media is your topic, then you'll be able to find a lot of information here. Anyway, it's very interesting. Yeah, and even if I wasn't writing a paper on social media and free speech, it kind of got me thinking about my use in social media and free speech and kind of what I've seen and what people are allowed to say. So on a personal level, I found it kind of interesting. At any rate, your discussion board is about the video. So you can either watch the shortened version or you can watch the longer version. That's totally up to you. And then the idea, of course, is to respond to each other about the topics. There's your reminder about your reply. And then we're headed into the writing territory for this week. And the writing territory for this week is actually just basic paragraphs. And that's because I noticed that a lot of people are actually struggling with paragraph structure. And so you can kind of read what I'm talking about here and what I'm going to be looking for in the writing territories to try to help you tighten that practice a little bit. So that way, once you kind of tighten it in the writing territory, it's easier to make it happen in the longer essays. And so again, the writing territories are places for you to practice these skills. And then the writing territory, of course, is due by Friday. And then you have one extra credit opportunity, which is, and you may have heard about it because the final verdict just came down maybe a month ago of this Snapchat rant with this student, and does the school have a right to limit her freedom of speech if she's not on campus, if she's posting on social media? What obligation did the social media platform have to limit her speech? Did they have a right? So it's a very interesting case. And that is your extra credit discussion board for this week if you choose to do that. And then that takes us to the end. That takes us to the end of week 9. So it's a busy week. If you decide that you want to submit your rough draft before you come back from break, you can do that too. I'm going to go ahead and open up week 10 in terms of the modules. So that way, for those of you who want to use the break to work ahead, you can do that. Don't feel obligated to do it. I'm going to do that just because I know some people need a little bit of time to catch up. Great. If not, that's okay too. There's no advantage or disadvantage as far as I'm concerned with doing the work a little bit early. But if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask, especially as it comes to revising of Essay 1 or the rough draft of Essay 2. And go ahead and schedule a conference with me this week if you'd like. I've got all kinds of availability just for you. If you have any questions, let me know. And if I don't talk to you at all this week, I hope you have a great spring break. We're supposed to have some lovely weather. So hopefully you can do some self-care in that week. All right, everybody. See you later.